Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankara Sharya Madhyamam Asmadasharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Mutibeda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sarvavedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. The verse 23rd, we stopped yesterday. The result accruing to those indiscriminate ones is indeed finite. The worshippers of God, the Saguna God, obtains the deities. The worships Nirguna, me, attain me only because I am the only reality. There is no question of more than one God. There is only one God, and that's me, say Lord Krishna, speaking in the behalf of Nirguna Atma. So we have seen briefly that there are benefits built into the process of devotional, dualistic devotion, the so-called niskama, not niskama, what's the name of the first one? Sakama Bhakta. So there are some benefits, and it allows the devotee to begin this process in which he established a relationship, the recognition that there is a creator, which is easy to be established if you were born in India, because it's part of the culture. But in the West, the societies more often atheists or materialists. And then it happened that people ignores that God, that principle that allows us to stay alive, who has somehow allowed the circumstance for us to be projected into this order, and so on. So there are some benefits, but there is some downsides as well. And in the beginning, the Vedas advertised the benefits because one has to get moving, rather than stay stuck as an atheist. You must become a Sakama Bhakta. And then, like the cigarettes, it's very delicious, but be careful. It has some downsides. It's injurious to health. So in the case of a Sakama Bhakti, it's not really injurious to health, but it's not going to solve one's human problem, of samsara. It will attenuate, it will minimize, and it will allow the individual to grow some certain qualifications to move into the pursuit of the understanding of one's nature as Nirguna Atma. And then the Atma is synonymous of God, self, consciousness, existence, the only reality, our very intrinsic nature. So, but Krishna here is highlighting Sakama Bhakti, saying that it's enjoyable, it's wonderful, and you can accomplish a lot of worldly goals. But there is a small problem, a downside, and in every text we present the defects, of the triangular format, or the defects of living a life focused on artha karma alone. And then things get better once we pursue art and karma with a devotional attitude and in observance of Dharma, the laws and principles of the Creator. And then things get even better in terms of prep work. So every one of our texts discuss the dosas, the defects of living a life governed by the desire of artha karma, and even Dharma. Dharma is going to produce good karma, punya, circumstantial punya, and then celestial punya once we get away from this body. But in any way, none of these is permanent, either here or up there or wherever loka it may be. No? So everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Anytime, wherever you find yourself into the fundamental duality experiencer and experienced object. It's going to have its defect because it is mithya. The experienced objects are defect because are never going to fulfill the experiencer. Yeah? Even if it's in Brahmaloka, it's not going to fulfill the experiencer. Isn't it, Mark?
So absolutely, yeah. Everything comes with its positive and negative.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to once again present the defects involved, not only the benefits, but the defects. The first one is dukkha, mishritatvam. All world accomplishments are mixed with equal amount of pain. Life is but a continuous experience of pleasure and pain, no? And you cannot experience only pleasure, and you cannot even experience only pain. There will be a few moments of pleasure that are going to stop people from committing suicide because they can see, no, there is still hope. There are moments I experience a satisfaction for staying alive, and so on. My existence seems to be so valuable that I refuse to commit suicide. So, and then the first one is that every accomplishment is the fact because it's mixed up with dukkha, with pain or dissatisfaction. They are the two sides of the same coin. When we experience worldly accomplishments and we have a certain satisfaction or happiness in that moment, but it's really the fact, and we can understand the logic, which is again and again present in our text. There are several reasons for that. So one of them is that once you accomplish something, now I'm satisfied. So I was feeling so incomplete by not gaining this object of desire, and now I got it. So what happens? Immediately, the next desire online comes, but I'm still here waiting, but I'm still here waiting, but I'm still here. So this is a direct defect. We are moved by a huge cosmic ignorance that encompasses a long list of desires that they're declaring I am really incomplete, and I need to fulfill all of these in order to reestablish my feeling of satisfaction as a human being. So it doesn't matter. You get what you want, and right there is the next one in line present itself to say, me too, I want to be accomplished. Then there is a huge struggle in accomplishing our desires, our object of desires, gaining those things, there is a lot of struggle. In the United States, we call it the rat race. It's big. And then people get a lot of success, and then they almost invariably they violate the Dharma here, there, for as long as nobody sees, or I have political power never to go to prison. But the fact is that sometimes, in spite of all the struggle, people succeed. But it's more often than not the fight, the competition, the struggle is so big that alone produce a huge amount of discomfort. To go into the world, to take part in the rat race is very, very uncomfortable. It's heavy. It produces stress, it produces anxiety, it produces tension, worry, fear, jealous, irritation, anger, So we live in that condition when, for as long as we're in the rat race, believing that if we succeed in the world, we're gonna be good. But that already destroys or compromises the mind big time. And then, as I was saying, so once I get what I want, I have other demands coming from my mind, okay? And that is one thing. So, and not if that was not enough, the long list of desires, there is a problem that anytime we accomplish something, immediately there is the problem of how to keep, how to maintain. It's very difficult to maintain. So I have met a few guys in the USA that they were millionaires from those days, that being millionaire was a big thing. But now you have to be a billionaire. But I met a few guys that were worth 5 millions or 3 millions or 2 millions, and they were like, okay, so I'm set for life. But they lost everything, because anything you gain is subject to departure, beginning from our physical body, of course. We gain it and we don't value that as a gift from God. We think that it's something. It doesn't matter where I came from as a body. What matters is that I am in control. This is my body. This is my mind, and I want what I want in this world. Only what I want. And I keep complaining and whining because it's not fair. I appeared here and I want to have things my way. So that is big. And then on top of that, keeping it becomes a huge, huge, huge stress. Preservation, maintaining, keeping that favorable circumstance, keeping your money, keeping everything, your physical body in shape. In spite of our effort and care, everything goes down, as Ramji used to say, goes south, and sooner or later it's going to be lost in time. So the ultimate loss, when you really lose it, when we really lose it, and then is the ultimate pain. So when in order to gain, you have to fight, struggle, and then to maintain more struggle, and then when you see, you take some risks on the material side, or you just do not take good care of your physical body, and then you're about to lose it. And then the ultimate loss is the biggest pain. When you lose all your money, just imagine the mind of these people when they lose everything they have materially, okay? And that happens right and left. Nowadays, people open small businesses right and left. They put all the savings in that basket and they lose everything. And we don't realize, but everybody is beating their savings. And sometimes the credit cards and everything, making debts, and they try and they fail. It's quite it's not easy to be a human being in this planet, at least. I always like to say that, but I don't know. I haven't been any other planet, but I don't discard the possibility. So when we lose, and then it's the big thing. So every world pleasure has potentially the pain built into it. It's called pain born out of nasa. Arjana Dukam, the fact or whatsoever. You know what Arjana is and nasa? Who knows?
Nasa is ruin. Arjane is acquisition.
Acquisition.
And Rakshane is protection, keeping, holding.
Okay. Acquisition. And nasa again?
Ruin.
Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get stuff, you have to keep it, and then it all goes away anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pain born out of the loss, and then acquisition and the effort to sustain or maintain it. And then you have pain from all of those angles, the pain of struggling to maintain things, yeah, the struggle for attaining, and then losing it is the biggest pain. So this is the number one dosa or defect. The second effect is that everything again is limited by nature. Every time I gain something, I say it could be better. No. The mind is never satisfied. We don't give ourselves time to enjoy what we have. There is a very nice saying. When I was a very young man, in my early 20s, I heard somebody saying, if I can't have everything I love, let me love what I have. I think you guys know that, huh? It's very insightful, very, very wise, what the other person has, competition and envy. I want to go as high as possible, and so on. So all suffer from the disease of comparison. And this leads to inferiority complex and jealous. This is called dissatisfaction. The Kathopanishad makes a bold statement saying that no human being will ever be satisfied with any amount of wealth, money. Otherwise, why should there be corruption at the higher level of all government? Higher level, all levels. Here in Brazil, they say that maybe it begins from the local level and then it goes up to the higher. There is a discussion here. I have seen some people discuss if it's top down or down up, why higher level satisfaction never comes? So the second effect is what? My beggarliness continues, meaning to say you remain poor no matter all your material accomplishments or gains. Dayananda used to say, oh, that guy is a poor rich man. This is so nice. Poor rich man, poor rich man. He does not know that he's poor. He believes to be rich, but deep inside he feels very poor, and I know that. But he does not know that. I know that, but the scriptures know that. Before I was poor with money, now I'm poor without money. Before I was poor without money, now I was poor with money. The bankruptcy is an inner bankruptcy. Nothing will fail, make me feel complete, satisfied. Nothing. The mind is kaput. The mind has got into this game of this deep dissatisfaction, deep inadequacy, deep sense of incompletion, and nothing is going to complete it, because any and everything we accomplish in this world is by nature finite and incomplete and limited. No finite plus finite is equal to finite. That is a very nice pointer from Vedanta. No amount of limited gains will sum up limitlessness. So this is all to keep me trapped in the samsara chakra on the level of finite gains and inner bankruptcy, let's say. There is no difference in distance between a trillion rupees and the infinite. You know, infinite is beyond time and space. So if you have a few rupees, the distance between your sense of completion or incompletion with few rupees and the infinite is the same as if you are multi-millionaire in India. I continue holding the sense, the feeling of a purna, of incompletion, dissatisfaction, inner bankruptcy. Therefore, I keep traveling from apurna to apurna in material accomplishments. And the most incredible things, and people do not connect the dots, isn't it? They really suffer so much in this life, and they accomplish some material gains here and there, or social status and so on, and they remain very, very poor and suffering, inside. And they don't realize that there is something wrong about life, the way they approach in life. They don't. It's unbelievable. And so that is the second defect presented by Swami Paramarthananda. No matter how many material accomplishments I have, nothing will satisfy me, because richness is a mental state only possible through jnana, a profound certainty of knowledge in respect to my purna inner nature, intrinsic nature. Nothing else will resolve this problem of the sense of a purna. So what is the second defect then? Is just this sense of finite and incompletion, dissatisfaction that can never be gained by finite and incomplete and defect gains. The third and final defect Swami presents here. Once you are used to those accomplishments, and then he puts a social status, your name and fame, the attention you get as a president of the United States of America, you're going to enjoy that, but you're going to lose that. And then it leads to what? To a huge vasana for power and prestige and so on, Once you get into that, you never come out of being a politician, because you got addicted, and you're going to have to play the game, violating Dharma right and left, and addiction, dependence. That's why after retirement, for some time, we suffer, because in society, I was someone when I was active, playing the role, my professional role. So I had a position and so on. I had some respect, but all is gone now. Huh? In the Gita, we see that I get addicted to any and everything that somehow gives me a sense of defected satisfaction, defected completion. It's a defect, but still it is something. It's better than nothing. It comes with suffering, but it's better than just 100% suffering. And then I prefer material, worldly success than failures. but I'm still suffering because I'm searching for happiness in the wrong place, in the place of finite and limited object, in the field of apara prakriti. So the third thing is that anything that gives us a sense of temporary defect satisfaction gets us dependent and addicted to them. So what is an addiction? What is abiding vasana? Is something without which I imagine my life to be a miserable life. Addiction or slavery or weakness is the third effect. Swami likes to present it as a weakness as well. A strength is not to be attached to anything. What is the mental emotional strength? He talks about as the Atmayana Palam, is a balance and the capacity to take success and failures, the same way, But for the Anyani, they become so much invested in their success and the maintenance of those gains, that once they lose, or even the threat of losing it, brings them down mentally and emotionally. Slavery, dependence, binding, and samsara. And then Swami is somehow connecting that to the Sakama Bhakti. Krishna wants to say Sakama Bhakti is okay, but will keep you in the religious samsara. You're going to be attached, and bound to the pujas and everything you do to God, to the inferior nature of God. So in order to pacify your mind, if you stop doing those things, your mind is going to immediately be distracted and disturbed by the rat rate of samsara. When you bring God, you get a psychological sense of protection. In Sakama Bhakti, there is a material progress. But this Sakama Bhakti, there is a little spiritual progression or spiritual stagnation. Materially, it's possible because there is progress, because of Sakama Bhakti. He fulfills his desires more often than not, and the mechanism is, my take is that once you bring God and you observe Dharma, you become more efficient in accomplishing your objects of desires, and you play by the rules. You have a less conflicting mind. A less conflicting mind become more efficient as well. So, and then in the end, you become a Kama Yoga, and then you learn to take both Punya and Papa with a sense of satisfaction as well. So spiritually speaking, the Sakama Bhakti and the Kama Yoga Bhakti, they have a certain level of progress in the spiritual realm as well. But Swami is presented this as black and white, and he's saying Sakama Bhakti is in a spiritual sort of stagnation for as long as it is stuck only on wanting worldly material things, It says it's not that Sakama Bhakti is committing a sin, no, it's just turning to God, and that is wonderful. And we expect it to observe Dharma, and that is enough reason for us to infer that there is a certain spiritual progress, small, but there must be, because it's observing Dharma and it's bringing God into one's life. Sakama Bhakti is not coming, therefore there is no spiritual fall. And the question is that there is no, Swami says that there is stagnation, okay? But a Sakama Bhakti, it's in due time moves into become Kama Yogi, okay? Which is can be a Sakama Bhakti or can be just a Kama Yogi in the sense of Vedantic teachings, in which Sakama Bhakti develops a huge sense of equanimity in regards to Punyapapa, and that is spiritual progress as well. But Karma Yogi not necessary is in search of moksha to be in the beginning. Okay, all of this is very subtle. Everything can be said in a more didactic structure. The presentation of Swami is perfect. So it's because the Sakama Bhakti is the one we said should be interest only in material gains. And in general, it's not concerned about the benefit of others, but only his or her benefit and the close relatives, such as the close family members. And then it's still relate to God, but it is stagnation because it's not observing the benefit of Ishwara as the Dharma field. So therefore, it says it's kind of in stagnation. But there is another kind of karma. What is Nishida karma? It's definitely tamasic karma.
Yeah, it's forbidden.
Forbidden. Okay.
Forbidden karmas.
So in the very, very Adamic forbidden tamasic karmas, there is spiritual fall. So there is a distinction of those who, because usually the people who do those forbidden karmas, they are so tamasic that they don't really, they are not devotees. There's no question of a bhakti there. Bhakti is when someone has brought God into one's life, okay, and is trying to get the help of God to accomplish certain goals. But the Nishida karma is a materialist person who rejects God and is doing actions in violation of God, of the laws of God, Dharma, and then it's being destroyed spiritually. Okay, any doubt about these concepts?
I'm struggling right now with my attachment to Dharma, because in my country right now, there's a lot of suffering going on. The immigrants are suffering greatly. We've betrayed allies in Europe, all this stuff, and I'm really dependent. I feel emotionally dependent on setting things right. And at the same time, I'm reading in the 11th chapter of the Gita, when Krishna shows his cosmic form to Arjuna, and Arjuna can't take it. I really relate because I'm having a hard time.
The most fundamental question or inquiry is, what can you do, Lynn? I mean, is that Ishvara is the totality of all factors that brings about whatever. My take is that it's not in the United States, it's in the entire world. There is predominance of a Dharma, and we're moving towards what could become a third world war with some use of nuclear weapons and so on. I mean, we don't know. I mean, there are all these politicians doing these things, and it's not looking good all over the world. You understand? And I don't trust any of them to begin with. And the only really safety we have is in this spiritual knowledge, spiritual elevation, progress. And my fundamental question is it worth to get so involved to the point of feeling like I must do something, knowing that there is nothing you can do? I must do something. So you are not in the army, or you're not a politician, you're not a general in Arjuna's army, you're not a warrior, So what can you do? You can inform people, but as we have seen, the people, I mean, people used to say United States, but people are going to stand up for freedom, for this, for justice, but somehow I think it's only Ishwara's will is going to manifest, and we need to take it as Ishwara's will, even if we blow one more civilization in this planet, which is a potential, it's a possibility as well.
I'm trying to keep a karma yoga attitude. I go to demonstrations. I do action as a citizen, but I'm trying to stay as uninvolved as I can. But I'm running up against understanding how much ignorance is still there.
Yeah,
that
we need to accept that most people are ignorant. Okay,
yeah,
they
including myself.
What?
Including myself in my attachment to Dharma.
Yes,
That is suffering for me.
it's suffering. Suffering is not good for you. You need to keep
No.
your mind health to do the spiritual work. And if you want to do some demonstration, manifestation against this or that, it's okay, but leave the results to Ishwara.
Right.
That's the basic lesson here. Okay.
Karma yoga. Mm.
Yeah, leave the results. Okay, you do what you do and you leave the rest, because we don't have much power to change things, I mean, I don't see much as human beings being able to set things right on this planet from the standpoint of justice and dharma and brotherhood and so on.
It's too big.
It's too big. The game is too big. There is these huge powers behind all these politicians. One pulls them to one side, and so many interests, and the interest behind all of these politicians, control and power, and
Insatiable desire.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Same in Brazil, things are really bad as well.
Yeah.
We should never allow it to demoralize us and to deviate us from our spiritual path. Okay, you know that. You just have to remember it. Okay. So there is a spiritual stagnation, there is a spiritual samsara, and then there is there is a spiritual stagnation, there is a spiritual, a religious samsara, and the spiritual, Akam yoga, let's say, different levels. And then there is the Yan yoga as well. So an atheist cries everywhere because of samsara. So the atheist is the one who is failing. And then he cries and complains to what? To the other party, to the other people, or we always try to point the finger to some other parties. The atheist is going to cry everywhere because of samsara. The religious Sakama Bhakta is going to cry as well, but cry to God. That's very nice, Cry to God, oh God, why you allow this, and blah, 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 blah. The cry is common to both. Cry is common to both. One cries materialistically, point the finger to other jivas, and one cries to God, saying, what's wrong with you, God? I have a friend of mine here, my student for 10 years, that she was a little bit disappointed with God lately, because they said, God has gone crazy. How God is allowing all of this, Then I had to explain her more than once that God has given us our free will. And this free will allow us to make choices that are going to, to bring about our prarabdhas on a personal level, and then nation level, and on the planetary level. So this is our prarabdha. It's chaos. There is so much chaos in this world. Moral, ethic, social, spirituality, as Swami keeps saying here and there, even commentaries or teachings that he has delivered 10, 15, 20 years ago, he's saying that things are really looking bad. Again and again, he says, I find in other texts. We find it because you have seen him saying those things. In Keno, recently, he was really saying, no, things are really looking bad, Everybody, even in India, just imagine the spiritual capital of the world. People are just becoming materialistic, atheists, and they want if they want contact with the Vedas, must be a very, very quick, few minutes video clip or class, but not a class of the Gita that Swami goes through years to complete. People say, I don't have time for this, Swamiji. Put something in the internet. Like my son once told me, no, I send him some video. No, I only watch videos at the most 2 minutes. It's everything has to be like that. And there is no depth in communication, in the teachings, and people just remain in this touch, 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 and run, touch and run, touch and run, very confused. So people crying to God is better off than people crying to other people. Yes, Lynn?
I was just thinking, it reminds me of this wonderful American movie called War Games. And it's about this computer that, anyway, a famous quote from that movie is, the only way to win is not to play.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Let me write it down because I'm always looking for good movies, which is so rare to find. What's the name again?
War Games.
Okay.
And it's and it so reflects this truth that the only way to win, to get out of this mess, is to
get out of samsara,
Yeah,
I mean,
asanga.
Yeah.
Just get us unattached.
It does not mean that we don't observe Dharma, and we even try to support Dharma,
Oh,
But
Krishna says, get up and fight.
yeah, but we have to understand Arjuna was a general, and he must do his Swadharma. So what is the Swadharma of Lin? Is moksha or just be a political activist? So, because
I think the swadharma of everyone is moksha.
Yeah, because those are a little bit of conflicting goals, because to be an activist, you are just set to hit a wall of frustration and emotional disturbance and everything. This is what is said in this verse. People who are sakama, bhaktas, they are not very smart people. They don't have a good discrimination. The very worship they could have been doing towards Nirguna Brahman, even if they use a symbol, but they know that's being direct to Nirguna Atma, my very Atma, my very self, But they are just leaning or putting everything into a Saguna God, Instead of seeking the infinite Lord, which is my very nature as well, they want to get things of this world, especially when it is material gains, which are not going to deliver much of anything, because satisfaction is so fleeting, so momentaneous, and immediately it brings about its defects. And then Swami presents a nice analogy, saying that Bhagwan has two pockets. He goes around offering infinite and finite gains, that is Shreyas in one pocket and the prayers. Lynn, what is the literal meaning of Shreyas and prayers that I forgot. I'm gonna make a note. And I was looking again in the internet and I couldn't find in the dictionaries.
I don't know literal, but Shreyas are those desires that lead to freedom. Prayas are those that are finite and don't lead to moksha.
Okay, got it.
It's my understanding.
Yeah. Because they don't give I did not find this a literal definition in several dictionaries. Because this is presented, Shreyas is presented in one of the Upanishads, I forgot which one, but it's an Upanishad that I did not do yet. So just imagine Bhagwan goes around with the real gold in one hand, and then with fake gold in another hand. And everybody falls for the fake gold because it has more of a shining effect. And the analogy is not very good because pure gold has a very shiny effect. But what it means that he has a hand in two pockets. One pocket, his hand works so much, the pocket with finite gains, that he had to do some surgeries in that hand and so on. The other, the hand got so stuck that he lost as well articulation of that length hand because nobody asked the infinite. Okay, we know the story, we know the joke. It's a very nice one. Nobody wants moksha. Nobody wants Vedanta. We see it. And even when they say they want Vedanta, they want a diluted form of Vedanta, mixed up with psychology and some other things and self-image and transferring some attributes of the body-mind to consciousness, to saying Aham Brahmasmi, and people keep playing around that diluted Vedanta, which is not the real thing, but the real Vedanta. You know what I heard recently? One of my students is leading a group of studies on Mundaka, and he has seen Swami Paramartananda saying that he has. I tried to find out when Paramartananda delivered that teaching, but I did not locate it. But it's not this Gita. It was at the very end of past century, okay, at the very end before December 2020. And but the canon, by his examples, it's earlier delivery. I don't know exactly, but he said in that text that, according to my friend, that he has only about 20 disciples, 20 disciples. He said, I have 20 disciples, which are one that are really here all the time and they are doing the work. The other people are more people that come and go, come and go, come and go. And we know this story. I know my small play here, proportion that people, there are thousands of people that have contacted Vedanta Brazil and got some taste of the teachings, but the people who keep doing this work is around 10 people or 20 people at the most. And Swami said the same thing. And he's the big guy. He's the big fish or whatever. He's the guy who is most famous in our tradition. Yet he says that he has about 20 disciples, really serious. Did you hear that, Mark?
No, one of his stature, has got so few serious disciples, especially being an Indian, and teaching in India as well. Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unsurprising, yes.
You're what?
But unsurprising, I guess, in this age of materialism.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised because I thought he would have at least 100 serious disciples. But I'm not surprised because this Kali Yuga, and even India has become
Yeah.
so materialistic and oriented,
Yeah, it has.
They choose matter rather than the spirit. They go into the wrong destination. Nitya, Nitya, Vatyu, Viveka. Therefore, Vairagya, Rachitanam. Therefore, Artha, Artani, Bhaktanam. They are those unintelligent, undiscriminating people. And Palan, once in Palan, they will get the result in the form of money. Yeah, they want Palan, they want money, fame, and status, and things of this world. Everything there is finite and limited, but that's what they want. Why? It's due to lack of refinement, intellectual, mental refinement. This is the tragedy. They want everything which is finite by nature. And everything that you gain will go. You're going to exhaust your money, your position will go. The president of the United States becomes nobody after a decade or two. Okay. And they have to vacate those seats, We have seen that in the 9th chapter, which is a parallel to the 7th chapter. So that is why in the 9th chapter, which is parallel to this chapter, Krishna will say, even Indra will have to vacate his position and become an ordinary jiva in Madras or anywhere else. So in the 9th chapter, Krishna goes to the extent, to the degree or an extent to say that even Indra, so the king of all gods, is just a position, is a status, And once expires this spiritual punya, one comes back. And then maybe another, all of this is symbolic as we know, okay? But anyhow, it's saying that even those deities, they have to vacate their position, like a president vacates its position. It has to come back to samsara, another birth. And then he says, and Upanishad goes one step further. He says that even another birth is not guaranteed. Because one of these souls, what is a deity? It's just an ordinary soul, a jiva, that somehow builds so much karma, punya, and then becomes a deity. But sooner or later, that punya, that is going to be exhausted, and then one has to have another birth to build more punya. But the next birth may be an inferior one. You never know. Well, Krishna says, do not blame me. My hands are in both pockets, and nobody wants finite, myself in my infinite nature, They establish their goals, and the goals are wrong. Do not blame me, Krishna will be saying on the 9th chapter. So therefore, Krishna once again is saying, you worshippers of the finite devatas, those deities, know that you will get a sense of protection and pacification in your minds, but the results are going to be finite, and you're going to have to keep working to produce some kind of punya, material punya or whatever. And you are Sakama Bhakta, no? Worship as a finite deities is a symbolic language of Sakama Bhakti. So if we are worshippers of finite deities, believing that is the real God, we are Sakama Bhakti. We are not a Kama Yogi. A Kama Yogi understood that Ishvara is just the middleman, and the ultimate goal is Nirguna Brahman. No? So Sakama Bhaktas will attain always finite results, even the devas. Here, the word deva represents, again, more finite result, like a higher position in a higher loka, because according to our scriptures, all the gods in heaven are none other than ordinary jivas like you and me, who have got the exalted position because of tremendous dominance of punya karma. That's why Yama Dharma Raja said, let's see what he says, even Yama Dharma Raja is here in a post. You know? And I will have to vacate this position. So you, Mark, can become a Yama Dharma Raja. Similarly, you can become Indra. You can become any deity depending on your effort to build a huge karmic punya account. But it's all finite by nature. Even, this is heavy, that Mark, he's talking about Brahmaji. I know that Mark would like to go to Brahmalok to have a serious conversation with Brahmaji, but even Brahmaji is a finite devata position. So the thing about Brahmaji, we have seen, or we will see, I don't remember, a certain stage of the Gita, we see that Brahmaji can give Atmayana can give moksha to certain disciples that can go all the way there, developing certain powers, siddhi powers, and then get the knowledge for Brahmaji and getting moksha. But there is something a little bit strange in this logic, in this analogy, this example, because fundamentally, Brahmaji is not a yani. So if Brahmaji is not liberate, how he can really teach liberation to any one of those souls reaching Brahmaloka? There is a contradiction there in terms. So it's just a post. And because Brahmaji is not a yani, Brahmaji vacates the post to come back into another physical realm, another birth. Therefore, even Brahmaji will have to vacate that post. There will be a last day. They will have to do like people do in the United States, a little carton box, put all his belongings and come down to earth again. Therefore, Devaraja, Sakama Bhakta, whereas my devotee, my worshippers, the worshippers of Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Brahman, these worshippers of Krishna representing the Nirguna Atma, the infinite, who represents these worshippers are the real Niskama Bhakta, the intelligent, the discriminate ones, the Jinyasu Bhakta, Mumukshutama Bhakta, Sadhana Katustaya Sampanaha. So different terms to highlight the Yani Yogas, the Vedantins, the Upanishad people, who are really making an effort to understand the nature of Nirguna Brahman, the only reality, and therefore the true nature of all jivas, which includes myself. Here, Krishna represents finite body. Krishna, Shahira is finite or infinite. Krishna body is finite, therefore going to Krishna is attaining of the infinite represent by finite body. Krishna's body symbolizes the infinite Brahman. So Krishna is talking in the behalf of Nirguna Brahman a lot of the times, okay? A lot of the time. Most of the time he's talking in behalf of Nirguna Brahman. Yeah? Sometimes he talks as from the standpoint of the creator, I create this, I create that. But even when he's saying that, his meaning, I myself, the real cause of everything through Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat, I create everything and I control everything. So he's mostly talking about his superior nature. Okay, dokie. We're going to begin then this coming Friday. Are you guys available for Friday as well?
Certainly am.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Then we meet this coming Friday at the same time. And by the way, Mark, is this time is work for you? You said that when it's too hot, it's good this time as well.
Yeah, it's okay for me, Arlindo. I'm a little bit tematic after lunch, but it's fine. You know, a little bit of a downturn, my mind becomes more sattvic again, so no problem.
But it's the time that you rest in any case because of the heat, huh?
Yeah, actually, this year it's not so hot this spring. It's been mainly raining since I've been back, so I'm still waiting for some hot weather.
Nice. Did you plant some seeds?
Yeah, I've got a few going. I've got a few things on the go now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okie doke. And one of these moments, I call you to talk to you about the seeds we have planted here.
Okay.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste.
Thank you, Orlando.
Come, friend. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Bye now.